Hi, it's the Lipstick Gal. Thank you so much for watching today. I was delighted when I discovered that there are new Petits Fours from Viseart. I love that Viseart is continuing to release new Petits Fours. This quad layout is really one of my favorites. For somebody who deals with indecision, this is exactly what I want. A limited color story, all in the same place, high quality, and go. That's perfect for me. So all four of these new shades are kind of inspired on that really beautiful, delicate French pastry called the macaron. If you're looking, they actually have the imprint of that on the outside of all of them, just little gold macarons. Every single one of these quads is based on a color story. This one here is called Lavande. This one with the pop of blue is Pasty. This little beauty is Pesh. And this right here is Pistache. Now, I don't speak French. That's about as much as you're going to hear from me, but I can't wait to dive into these. I think the first one that I'm going to try is the one that kind of gives me just a little bit of, what do we do? It's the one with the blue. So let's start here with Pasty. I'm going to start with this lightest shade here. I'm going to start by putting this right underneath the arch of the brow and in the inner corner. My favorite thing about Viseart is that I don't ever feel like I have to wear eyeshadow primer. I feel like I get a really good wear just with the formulation on my bare lid. But if you are an eyeshadow primer devotee, of course, go ahead and use your favorite one. I just find that I get faster results and I don't have to work too hard at blending if I just use it on my bare lid. I'm going to pick up this darker brown and I'm going to use this kind of right out here on the outside corner and bring it in through the crease. Trying to decide if I want to use the blue as like a liner or if I should actually use it. I should probably use it as shadow. Okay, we'll do it. I'll just tell you, blue is definitely one of those colors that's not in my comfort zone, so it kind of gives me a moment of pause. I'm going to run a little bit of this same brown right on the lower lash line. This is such a pretty powdery blue. I was wondering, it looked kind of satin in the pan. I think it's just a lot of bright lights around here. Okay, moment of truth. Oh, this is fun. I'm sure if you were to put down a primer that was lighter than your eyelid, you'd get more of a punch out of this blue. I like that it's going on very softly as a wash because remember, me and blue, I'm intimidated. This is the color that always makes me go, I want to love it because I love blue, but blue eyeshadow always makes me just think of really intense blue eyeshadow from when I was a kid growing up in the 80s. But I don't think we're there yet. So this metallic is the only one in the palette. Usually it's more metallic heavy. Most of the palettes I have at least two instead of 3 mattes and 1 metallic, but this is interesting. I'm gonna put this in the inner third here. I might just use my finger. Yep, and then we'll blend a little bit with this. So I am just going to go through, make sure I'm good and blended, make sure that pop of blue comes through, put on mascara and some liner, and I'll be right back. This one had me worried. I almost didn't pick this palette up because of this blue. And this blue, it can be really bold, it can be really bright. I have it a lot lighter on my eye because that's more my comfort zone. But I was thinking how much fun would it be to wear this blue with just the mattes in here, this kind of light beige shade underneath the arch and in the inner corner, this just in the outside, and then this really pretty blue pastel lighter in the inner corner and then building to darker across the lid with a really beautiful winged liner and some serious lashes. That would be a lot of fun. I feel like I could also really use this palette a lot using this for kind of like dimension on the eye and go for these 3 shades here. This is all 4 of them together. They work beautifully, but this was the one that I almost didn't get that I think will be fun to continue playing around with. Time to crack into this one. This one's called Lavande. And this is one that also has 3 mattes and 1 metallic in it. I haven't really looked at the rest of these close enough. No, some of the other ones have more than 1 metallic, but I am kind of curious to see how this look turns out. I am gonna start here in this bright shade. I switched out brushes. I feel like The other one wasn't completely dry. I was using a quick dry brush cleaner, but I feel like there was still some dampness in the bristles and I didn't want to compromise how this matte would blend. Oh, this is such a pretty color. I'm using the lighter lavender shade in here, and I'm going to use this kind of along the crease to blend this out. I'm going to use this next lightest shade here. It's really very pale. I'm going to hit this kind of in the inner corner and right underneath the arch of the brow. I'm going to use kind of the medium purple to blow out the lower lash line. And now I'm going to put this metallic kind of right here in the middle. Just tap it over everything. I feel like this makeup would be a little bit more successful with cooler tone blush and lips. So I'm gonna change a little bit of that after I throw on my lipstick and my mascara, and I'll be right back. So I changed the blush and the lip product, and I feel like it looks a lot better. It was just a little weird for me. I was hoping if I wore a neutral lip and a neutral blush, it would be fine, but this is cool enough that I feel like it needed just to change up to really play it to advantage. I will make sure to list all of the makeup items I'm wearing in the description box down below. I really love the way this look turned out. I think that these softer lavender kind of purpley shades are beautiful. If you're looking to have more pigmentation than I have, first of all, you're going to want to use a tinted eyeshadow primer, something that's going to kind of blank out your canvas, give you a little bit of coverage, but also that's going to be on the lighter side. The lighter that shade is, the more these pastels are going to pop. But I am most comfortable in a lighter kind of wash of color, kind of a whisper of color. That's my comfort zone. So I skip the eyeshadow primer and I put them on very lightly. But I really like the way this look turned out. I think this is beautiful. And these were the sort of pastel purples I was craving pre-Easter. I'm hoping that I'm going to keep using these through the summer, but I would have loved to have seen these released, especially this one, like in March. That would have been fantastic. This one's called Pesh. I have always loved a peach eyeshadow. I am super excited about this. I'm going to start with this shade right here. I'm going to put that in my crease. It almost looks a little creamsicle. I'm going to use the lightest shade in here right underneath the arch of the brow. This eyeshadow palette has a mix of 2 metallics and 2 mattes. I'm going to dip my finger into this one here and just kind of tap it on the lid. I'm picking up this lighter metallic shade and I'm just going to put this right here on the inside third of my lid. I'm grabbing a little bit of the darker matte shade and just running that right along the lower lash line. And I'm going to throw on some mascara and liner and I'll be right back. This is what Pesh looks like on the eye. I think it turned out really, really lovely. The one thing I'll tell you is that this peach shade here, the deepest one in the palette, has some really pretty sparkle to it. Can you see that? I feel like I can see it here in the pan as well. The metallics here, we'll do some swatches later, but they're really lovely, but they're not too heavy. If you're worried about some of these looks getting out of control because everything's a little too intense, that's the one thing I like about Viseart is that you can really control the level of intensity by how you apply, by what you use underneath. If you want a light wash, you can definitely get that. This one has a little bit more punch than the other two, but then again, warm neutrals is more my comfort zone than the blue and the lavender. This green quad here is called Pistache. I am going to start with this brown shade. I'm going to put that in the crease. I love this shade. Oh, this would be a really easy shade just to put right here and call it a day. I've got the matte green. I'm going to pat that kind of on the center-ish of the lid, but not all the way. I'm trying to keep this green shade kind of just to the outside 2/3 of the lid. There is going to be some of that brown peeking through on the outside edge. I don't want to cover up too much of that, but I want to get the majority of this down right here. Since this is the last one I'm trying on, I did use a little bit of concealer over my eye, and I feel like I'm getting a little bit more vibrancy from these guys because I have something that's got a tint to it, and it's also helping this adhere a little bit better than just a bare lid. I'm going to use a wash of this metallic green just lightly over the top of this shade here, and I'm going to use this in the inner bit and the inner corner. I'm just loading up that inner corner just a bit more. I'm going to use some of the brown on the lower lash line. I feel like I want just a little bit more of this metallic green, so I'm just patting it over the matte green that I put down first. I don't want to get it too high, so I'm going to bring in more of this matte brown and make sure that's what I have going on in my crease. Sometimes I feel like my fingers are so large as I'm placing my metallic, my sausage fingers end up getting it everywhere. So I do sometimes come in with, just to re-emphasize the crease just a bit and to kind of bring down the level of shine and metallic I might have gotten there accidentally. I'm gonna throw on some liner and mascara and I'll be back. I think Pistache might be my favorite. I always have had a soft spot for greens, but didn't really start wearing them until about maybe 3-4 years ago. And this sort of green is beautiful. It's perfect. It's soft. It's not too much. I am so in love. And even this little brown shade here, oh my goodness, I love it. I know I'm gonna have to tell myself not to use this one more over the others, but this is gonna be one of my faves. I can just tell already. Let's do some swatches. On a side note, my eyes are watering like crazy because I've been like washing all of the makeup off. I should have done this over a couple of days, 2 yesterday, 2 today, but I was like, let's just do it all in the same day. So my eyes are a little watery. You'll understand. Here are the swatches for Pasty. As you can see, this lightest shade here is very close to my skin color. It's a little bit darker, but I feel like these mattes really build up beautifully, and this is such a pretty metallic copper shade. Here are the swatches for Lavande. I really feel like you can get a really deep and intense purple look with this. I just used it really lightly today. You know me, I'm a little color averse, but I feel like this metallic shade here really sets off the rest of it. I could definitely see myself like using these 2 shades here as a really soft kind of Easter egg themed eye and a little bit of this in the outside corner. I really was surprised how much I liked this purple palette, but this is really beautiful, and these soft kind of pastel-y shades with this really shiny metallic are beautiful. Here are the swatches for Pesh. These 2 metallics are absolutely stunning, and I think the 2 mattes are really nice. This lightest shade right here is definitely a little bit lighter than the one in the other palette. I feel like the one in Pasty is just a little bit lighter, and this one definitely has more of that kind of peachy, almost, it reminded me when I first put it on of like an orange creamsicle look. It's not quite that orange, but it definitely has a very warm lean to it. Here are the swatches for Pistache. I really feel like the metallics in here have a really lovely shine to them, but these mattes are remarkable. I feel like you're getting really true to color from the pan to the swatch. They're easy to build up. This brown blends with no effort. I love it. And with a little bit of something on the eye to prime it first, I used a little bit of concealer today. I'm getting a much more vibrant green. This was really, really green until I put this over the top. I feel like these are as adaptable as if you want a lighter wash. No primer, just put them on, or use a clear primer on the eye, something that's not going to actually lay down like a kind of an opaque kind of light layer. And if you want something that's a little punchier, that opaque light layer of primer is going to help not just adhere the color, but make the pastels just a little bit punchier. But I really love this. These warm shades here are definitely more my comfort zone, but but I'll tell you, this one right here, this one in Lavande really has my attention, and I'm curious to try this one and do what I did here with the green with this all over the eye, and then maybe use a different metallic, maybe like this one, just pat it over it for just a little bit of shimmer. I feel like this copper is going to be great if I mix it with these two shades and kind of skip the blue. I like how versatile these are. One of the other things that I love is that each one of these has a very individual packaging, so you know which one you're getting. I do have another green Petits Fours, but the packaging is different. This one is from their Holiday 2021 collection, inspired by the 1920s, kind of a jazz age. It has very much a Art Deco look to the outside packaging. This one has the little macarons on it. But the great thing about all of these is that the pans are magnetic. You can pull them out, you can swap them around, you can move them inside here to better suit your needs the way your eye flows, or you can mix and match ones from other palettes. If you like a different shade from another place, you can pull it out and you can swap them out. I love that so much. The other thing that I have done with these is that, you know, I'll rob one of these and one from another palette, and I'll make my own individual palette in a larger magnetic. I'll just start plopping pans in there. I usually do take the time to write on the back of each one of these, like where they came from and what the name is. These are such a delight. I'm glad to have these. I'm gonna get a ton of use, I feel like, more out of these, maybe even these three. These are the three that I almost picked up and skipped this one because of the blue, but I'm kind of glad I got it because it's gonna push me outside of my comfort zone. And I find the more that I end up pushing myself when it comes to makeup, the more skill I learn, the more blending ability I get, especially with eyeshadows. And then in the end, the more fun I have. And I just kind of open my doors to more and more options in the makeup world. Viseart is one of those brands that I love, but I had products from them for several years before I really kind of understood what they were trying to do. And it wasn't until probably 2020 that the light bulb went off and I had that aha moment of, oh my goodness, these are amazing. And I have continued to pick up so much from this brand. I really love these. I'm gonna continue using these even though summer's right around the corner, but these really feel like early spring to me. I would have loved to have had these in March and played with them while the weather was still cold and my heart was longing for spring. But now that we're just about to transition into like Memorial Day and then summertime, I definitely would have loved these just a couple of months ago. But that's like the only criticism I have. Thank you so much for watching today. I would love to know if you are a fan of Viseart. Have you tried this Petits Fours format before in any of these iterations? Do you have your eye on any of these? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have an incredible day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.